Life can change in an instant. One moment you're breathing, the next you're fighting for air. That's how it felt for me and my two beautiful daughters. We were navigating a new world, a world without their father, my ex-husband. He had passed away recently, and the grief, it was a heavy cloak. But heavier still was the tension, the unspoken words, the strained ties with his family, especially my ex-mother-in-law. We were trying, truly trying, to find our footing, to find a little peace amidst the storm. It wasn't easy, not at all. We decided a little celebration was in order. My youngest, Lily, was turning 13. A milestone. A time for joy, if we could find it. So we headed to the local farmer's market. It was a bright Saturday morning. The sun was shining. The air smelled of fresh flowers and ripe peaches. We hoped to find some simple happiness there. A new dress for Lily, some delicious treats, maybe even a moment where the sadness lifted, just a little. My older daughter Maya was there too, trying to be strong for her little sister. We were a unit, the three of us, holding on tight. Then it happened, out of nowhere. As Lily was admiring a handmade necklace, her eyes shining, 3 women from our church approached, not with smiles, not with kind words for the birthday girl. Their faces were hard, set in judgment. My heart lurched. I knew these women. They were close to my ex-mother-in-law. My stomach twisted. What did they want? Why here? Why now? Lily looked up, her smile faltering. Confusion clouded her sweet face. Fear started to creep into her eyes. And mine too. They didn't greet us. They didn't ask about Lily's birthday. They cornered my child, my 13-year-old baby girl. They started questioning her. Cold, pointed questions. About our family. About her father. About things no child should ever be forced to discuss, especially not with strangers in a public market. Lily froze. Tears welled in her eyes. She looked at me, her face a mask of terror and bewilderment. My mama bear instincts roared to life. This was not happening, not on my watch, not to my child. I stepped in front of Lily. My voice was shaking, but firm. "Excuse me," I said. "This is not the time or place." I told them Lily was a child, that this was her birthday, that they were upsetting her. I put my arm around Lily, pulling her close. Maya stood beside me, her face pale but resolute. I told these women to leave us alone, to step away. But they didn't back down immediately. They kept talking, their voices low, insistent, accusatory. It was a nightmare unfolding in broad daylight. We had to get away. I grabbed my daughter's hands. "We're leaving," I announced, and we turned. We walked away as quickly as we could, leaving the half-chosen birthday treats behind, leaving that feeling of fragile joy shattered on the market floor. But the worst part? They followed us, for a little while. A silent, menacing presence at our backs. My girls were terrified. I could feel Lily trembling. Maya kept looking over her shoulder. It felt like we were being hunted, stalked. The fear was suffocating. The confusion turned to a cold, hard anger deep inside me. Later, the full, ugly truth came out. My ex-mother-in-law. She had been spreading stories, vicious, calculated lies at church to anyone who would listen. She painted me as a terrible wife, a neglectful mother. She twisted the narrative of our lives. She made my daughters and me out to be the villains. She claimed we were the reason for all the family problems. She told people I had driven her son away, that I was a bad influence, that my grief was fake. It was a character assassination, pure and simple. And those women at the market, they were her messengers, sent to intimidate, sent to wound. The community, our church community, had heard her version. And some, they believed it. We felt the shift, the cold shoulders, the judgmental stares, the sudden silence when we entered a room. It was isolating, painful. My daughters were heartbroken. They couldn't understand why their own grandmother would do this, why people who once smiled at them now looked at them with suspicion. The church, a place of supposed sanctuary, felt like a place of judgment. The betrayal cut deep, so deep, it felt like we were drowning in her lies. I couldn't let it stand. I just couldn't. For my daughters, for their peace of mind, for their truth. My ex-mother-in-law had sown seeds of poison, and I just knew, I had to uproot them. It wasn't about revenge, not really. It was about justice. It was about reclaiming our names, our dignity. I looked at my girls, their faces etched with sadness and confusion, and I made a promise, to them, and to myself. I would fight this. I would bring the truth to light, no matter what it took. The quiet suffering had to end. So I started gathering evidence. It was painful, like reliving every difficult moment. But I was determined. I found old emails, text messages, voicemails, things that showed the reality of my marriage, things that exposed my ex-husband's long-term affair, an affair his mother knew about, an affair she had helped him hide. I found financial records, letters, even photographs. Each piece of paper, each digital file was a piece of our truth. A truth my ex-mother-in-law had tried so desperately to bury under her mountain of lies. My hands would shake sometimes looking at it all, but I kept going. Then came the binders. Oh yes, I decided the truth needed to be undeniable, tangible. So I compiled everything, meticulously. I made copies. I organized them into clear, comprehensive binders. Each one told our story. The real story, not the twisted fiction spun by a bitter woman. Each binder was a testament to what we had endured, and a testament to her deceit. It took days, late nights, fueled by coffee and a mother's fierce love. My daughters helped. They wanted to. It was their fight too. It was empowering in a way, taking control, preparing to face the lies head-on. The following Sunday, I walked into that church, head held high, my daughters by my side. I wasn't there to shout. I wasn't there to cause a scene. I was there to deliver the truth, quietly, directly. I had a binder for the pastor, for each of the elders, for the very women who had confronted us at the market. I handed them out, calmly. I asked them to read it, to see the evidence for themselves, to understand what had truly happened. The looks on their faces, shock, disbelief, some even shame. The silence in that church hall was deafening, but this time it was a different kind of silence. The fallout was immediate and dramatic. It was like a dam had broken. The truth, once unleashed, had a power all its own. People read those binders. They saw the proof. The carefully constructed lies of my ex-mother-in-law began to crumble, one by one. The pastor called me. He was horrified, apologetic. He said he had been misled. Others called too. Members of the congregation, some of the elders, the women from the market, they sent a letter. A long letter filled with remorse and asking for forgiveness. They said they never should have approached my daughter. They were ashamed. The backlash against my ex-in-laws was swift. The community turned. They saw the manipulation, the cruelty. My ex-mother-in-law, who had paraded herself as a victim, was now seen for what she was, a purveyor of falsehoods. She and my ex-father-in-law, they couldn't face it. They couldn't face the congregation they had lied to. The shame was too much. Within weeks, they left the church. They just disappeared, quietly. There was a profound sense of relief. For me, for my daughters. It wasn't about victory dances. It was about the air clearing, about the heavy weight lifting from our shoulders. My girls, they started to smile again, genuinely. The fear in Lily's eyes was replaced with a newfound confidence. Maya stood taller. They had seen that truth matters, that standing up for yourself, even when it's terrifying, is worth it. We received so many apologies, so much support. The church community, the part of it that was true and good, rallied around us. They showed us kindness, compassion. It was a powerful lesson in discernment and in the resilience of the human spirit. We weren't villains, we were survivors. This journey, it taught us so much about loss, about betrayal, but also about strength. The strength you find when you fight for your family, the power of truth to cut through the darkest lies. It wasn't easy. There were tears, there was fear, but we walked through that fire, and we came out stronger. We are still healing, of course. Some wounds take time, but we are moving forward, together, knowing that we faced the storm, and we found our own sunrise. And that, my friends, is a story worth telling, always.